Notion, you know. Now, she being from Texas, that was kind of normal. All right, so she said, "Come on, we're going to go up to Bernardsville," and I'm like, "Okay, wherever you go." She was 6'3", you know. All right, you know. When she crossed her legs in a room, it was kind of like, whoa. People just following, so I was just following her around, and she was a sweetheart. So I followed her up. She introduced me to Chris, and she said, "You know, this is Chris. Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" I just wanted to know, like, who the hell is this clown? You really got to come. We got some great things for you, you know. So, you know, we're talking, and we go up to meet back and forth a few times. You know, I'm talking to Chris and different things, and yeah, I got some great guys. Need to hook you up with it. It'd be really good for you. You know, his head's gonna pop. You know, he gets his vein thing going. So, he's introducing me to some of these other clowns in the room. You know, trying to clean up back here a little bit because there's ladies and there's my friend's children here, and you know, I don't want to be indelicate. So Chris said, "You know, we got this great thing going on. You know, we're going up to the Wilson house. You know, you can really come." So I said to Mindy, I said, "All right, be you. You know, we're going to go do this deal." I just did not like being around you people. I mean, think about it. You're all screwed up. I'm okay. I know me, don't like you. So we go up, we get up there, you know, we're doing the deal up there, and I'm sitting in the room, the couch, you know, and Anne Marie and Meg and Big Ian sitting next to me, are on this little couch, and I'm like, this is just peachy. You know? And I hated it. And I wasn't having any fun. I kind of, so, you know, and then I hear this Puerto Rican guy come up, and I'm like, wow, he's talking about the 9th step and making amends. My sponsor at the time taking me through work, and I'm just stuck. I'm jammed. Can't make amends, not tapped in, not anything, right? So this scraggly, like curly-haired Puerto Rican with a goatee, some ripped-up jeans up there, and talking about being tapped in and going out and making all his amends. He talks about this friggin' lawnmower he stole from a church, you know, and sold it, and what'd that Puerto Rican get? $5 Delordans, right? The Puerto Rican was red. I may have been somewhat illusional, you know? So I said, I got to talk to this guy. He's bringing all these other wimps and weenies up. You were there, Doug. They're all talking about how they made amends and how I flew to here and there, you know, to kiss so-and-so's tail feathers. Oh, man, are you happy? Sorry about what I did. And they're all making nice things. And I'm like, I got to do that. They're talking about the 3 questions they got to ask, and I'm asking, sure, you really got to do that, asking 3 questions. Oh, yeah, you got to do that. It's very important. So we leave. I know I got to talk to this Puerto Rican fella. And I do what every good alcoholic does. I don't. And, you know, we go off, me and a Big unit go off on our way back home. And I got this great idea. Should I tell this? I got to make amends. So I run out. I call the guy. Says, meet me at the usual spot tomorrow, 7 p.m. No weapons. Click. Just my life. So I go up to Elizabeth the next day. I meet this guy in the church. He's sitting in a pew. There's a couple of goons with him. I'm like, all right. I might have rode outlaw at a club in New York City for a number of years, which I don't now. I used to be a biker, now I'm a motorcycle enthusiast. So when I go up, I tell the guy, I says, you know, this is what I know I've done to you, you know, you were short $20, I hurt you, and I'm sorry. Now, I'm not dying. I got guidance from Shredder. That's what we call Chris. Because he just shredded tea one time. That's another story. So, I said to the guy, is there any other way I've hurt you that I am unaware of? Guidance from Chris, indirectly, all right? And he goes, no. I said, all right. That went well, so I figured I'll ask the second question. And I learned this from this guy, through other people and everything. I'm like, I think I'm on a good path here. So I said to the guys, would you like to tell me how this affected you or made you feel? The guy was more than honest and felt the need to share. He said to me, you crippled me. Thinking under the direction that went well. Third question. Now I got this guy in the back of my head. Yeah, man, you're great. You got to do it. Freeze time. It's important. So I'm hearing this, right? So I say, what can I do to repair this situation and make this right? Well, the other two questions went so well, I figured this would too, and he says, stay away from me, you scare me. I just went, I can do that. I felt good. I came back that following week, Chris, I made an amends, and he's like, oh, how'd it go? He's like, tell him, he goes, you terrorized that guy. You escaped. Unbeknownst to me, Shredder, the big unit, maybe Anne Marie, a couple other people, conspired to get me. Does that ever happen? I made it paranoid, but it happens. So to get me up to Skinny Atlas, right? I'm sitting in the back. Now, I used to carry a lot of guns and stuff. I'm sitting in the back and I'm listening there, and I'm sick. I'm pissed off at the big unit because I'm at another one of these things. I got to listen to this clown again. And he brings up the same jerks doing the same retreat that they did at the Wilson House 3 months earlier. So I end up, the last hour, I asked Ray, this is really how it went. I'll tell this one. I said, come up to the steps in the back. The back of the room where we were, there's little steps to the upstairs part there, that little convent thing. I go up and he's got a couple other, weenies around him, and I said, hey, because I'm tough. And Ray says, what? I said, can you, what? Hey, anybody got a pen? Jim wants to go through the work, so I wanted to shoot him. So that Tuesday I go through the work, and my life has completely changed. A little while later, I'm asking Shredder, I said, you got me, hooked me up with him. I knew you carried guns, so I figured better him than me. Let me tell you something. How do you know this about Shredder? If you've had the opportunity to, or the suffering to have to hear me speak at any point, and Shredder's around, he'll be sitting in the back going, tell him about the midget! And then his all-time favorite, tell him about the monkey. So he likes me to get out that if you're, that if you're hiding anything or something in your past, when you're in that process of talking about, a certain inventory that, are the kids in the other room? You're doing your sex inventory or something, there's nothing to hide, because the real deal is, if you've never had a monkey spanking your ass during sex, Chris loves that. I think he has a monkey in the midget phase. Vicariously through other people's footsteps. But it's it's just hearing this guy talk about how he's a bad electrician and how he put purple stuck on someone's home while the family over there is having a barbecue looking like, we hold those dear. We know the things he's going to, we all know these stories, we've heard so many times, and we still laugh every time. And we love him. Chris, you've done more for me than I could ever do for you, do for anybody else. What Chris has done through the help of God up in this area and just spread out to so many people, and him taking Ray through the work, took me through the work, who helped me down in that area of Jersey that I was in that was just void of anything. There's so many meetings that have opened up from that, from people going through the work and spreading out. And that's just a pebble in the pond, bro, and you did it. And I told you this before, I'd take a bullet for you. You know what I mean? I love you, and thanks a lot.
God, he sounds just like him. That's awesome. You know, it's amazing how one person can change and touch so many lives. That Chris is on the board of directors of a program called A&A, which Jimmy Ray and another gentleman, T, started, which is now international. It's just huge. And so these guys have touched hundreds of thousands of lives. And so, Chris, what you do and how you just touch people, that just spreads this pebble, as they were talking about. There was a situation where I was coming up to speak at one of Jimmy and Ray's events in New Jersey, and about 3 days prior to me flying up here in February, my wife, I'm going to do this one without crying. My wife had been given 5 years to live. And so it was kind of a shock, a little bit. And so I'm sitting there in the doctor's office, and I'm thinking about Valeria, and I'm thinking, well, what I'm going to do is we're just going to blow away this world, we're going to travel everywhere, she's going to die, and I'm going to be broke when she's dead. And that's the way it's going to be, and it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have a great time. Because I had the pleasure of falling in love like I've never fell in love before in my life. So I call Ray and I tell Ray that I'm unable to come up. He says, no. He says, listen, you need to come up. He says, bring your wife. And so we went up to this event. And the event we went up to, if anyone wants to answer that, you're more than welcome. No, it's not. The event that we went up to was, I think it was an A&A retreat. And I spoke on that Friday night, and I could barely speak. And then on that Saturday, we did this prayer and meditation. And the prayer and meditation, there was probably about 40 of us in the room. And Ray was leading us through a healing light. And he asked the healing light to be placed on my wife. And all of us thought about my wife and put the light on her. And she said she felt this huge warmth enter into her body. And it like startled her. It was like a blow up. And then she just started crying. Well, we call her the Roman shield. She does not cry. She wouldn't stop crying for 3 days. She went through the work with Jimmy. At that point in time, she calls her my good friend Jimmy. And we went back home to Sarasota, Florida. And it was February in New Jersey. We walked in. It was a Thursday to the doctor's office. And the doctor said, wow, you guys been at the beach? We're like, no, we're in New Jersey. And because she got her color back. And she did the tests. And she walked back in the room. And she says, where have you been? And we said, we were in New Jersey. We're at the spiritual retreat. And she kind of pats us on the head. Oh, that's nice. She says, you're cured. And to this day, everything has stopped and everything's gone, and she's been cured to this day. And that's 5 years, so that means it's gone. So by Chris introducing me to Ray and Jimmy, to introducing me to a solution that saved my wife's life, you have no idea, Chris, of how many lives you've changed. None. You can't possibly. You couldn't possibly understand that. So we're going to call up Dave. Dave, would you be able to come up and say a few words, please?
Dave Alcohol.
Hey, Dave.
Really? Yeah. You can't tell by looking at it. How do I follow that? Oh my God, believe it or not, I'm a quiet one. And I gotta follow the two of you, and then my wife's life was saved. Chris told me a joke once. I've gotten out of 10 years of knowing Chris. You know, I can't, getting to the beginning, I mean, I think it was 10, 12 years ago, 10 years ago. By the way, has anybody checked? Is it really 20 years? I mean, Chris tends to exaggerate a little. I think it was a couple of
That's
years.
artistic license.
I remember last year, it was like 12. Running so quickly. I will check that, but congratulations. About 12 years ago, I was flailing in Summit, and at the time I was living in a sober house with Anne-Marie and this other guy, Steve, and I was pretty much the big shit. I was a big man on campus in my group meeting. You know, I was on the sober softball team. I was asked to speaking commitments. I gave a really good share. They voted me treasurer. You know, like a year before I was supposed to be treasurer. Like I had early because I was so good. You know, like usually after 2 years, I was allowed to be treasurer for 1 year. So I knew I was really good. And Anne-Marie and I, we went to one of Chris's workshops. I was leading a meeting up in Boonton, and I got this flyer, and I said, you know, this big book thing, I think maybe we should check it out. You know, not having looked at a big book, I have 2 years now, and I haven't done one step. You know, I've looked at the wall and everything. And we go up to this workshop. It's a 3-day workshop, and Chris is up front. And instantly, I had a connection with Chris. And at the time, I thought he was an accountant, which, if you know Chris, is farthest from the truth. Financial, you know, numbers is not his thing. But but I saw him, and there was an instant connection. And I got his number, and I was really motivated to really think about working with him. So I go home, and you know, like 6 months later, I still haven't even called him. But 6 months later, I'm coming from the group where I'm big man on campus, and I'm crying. I'm driving home to my sober house from a meeting, which I'm going to like 15 meetings a week, and I have 2.5 years, and I'm crying. Something's wrong. And I get home, and I'm in like a freaking fetal position, and Anne-Marie's quick. She's very knowledgeable. She says, "What's wrong?" So I'm like, I didn't know what. She said, "You got to give that guy Chris a call." And so I gave him a call, and I explained everything that was going on, and I expected the wisdom that I got. And Chris said, "It sounds like a spiritual malady." I'm like, "Did you hear what I told you?" That's it? That's it? That's all you got for me? And he's like, "Come on over and we'll go to that." And I said, "All right." So I drove over there, and I sit, and he takes me to his music room. You know, famous music room up at Penny School. And there's a wall of albums, you know, there's just music everywhere. And I sit down on this couch, and Petrulia gets up on my lap and just kind of falls asleep in my lap, and we start talking, we start going through the work. And, you know, little I know how important that day would be of transforming my life. But, you know, Chris, so I started hanging out with Chris, and it's just infectious. And one of the things that is amazing is that an individual like me needs laughter in his life, and I need to have fun, and I need to be, and that's what was as infectious as what the solution was too. I heard the solution before, and I heard many people come through and talk about the solution, but they weren't having